Hello and welcome to Hank Games Without Hank. I manage the 17th place AFC Wimbledon Wimbly Womblys, sitting on 7 points. All is not well in Wimbly Wombly land. I feel like we've been playing all right, but we haven't been playing great. We're starting Dicko and Houdini again because, you know, we love Dicko. That's his name. And it's hard to imagine living without the magic of Houdini as well. So we're starting them playing ball John Green out on the, or other John Green out on the left again, and then I'm planning to make some halftime substitutions, maybe. Or that doesn't really seem to be working, though. I don't know. I'm feeling frustrated, alone, and confused. Today, I'm going to talk about something from my book, The Fault in Our Stars, this book that I wrote a few years ago. There's a thing in the book that's not really in the movie as much. Where basically Augustus, or Gus, depending on how far along in the book you're meeting him, Augustus calls the narrator of the book Hazel Grace Lancaster, and Hazel just calls herself Hazel. Like early on in the book, she says that she likes people who have two names or have, oh God, really? Funding's rude. Really, girls just want to have funding's rude. If we give up a goal here, it's all your fault. Oh, no, nice tackle. She says that she likes people who have two names because you can kind of like choose what to call them, Gus or Augustus, and that she's always been just Hazel, that there's no nickname for Hazel usually, and I think she even refers to herself as univalent. Oh, off the post! Dicko! Dicko hits the post. It's brutal. It should have been a goal. But Dicko was just a little bit off. Didn't quite hit the sweet spot. So this is intended to be pretty clearly like, you know, she thinks of herself as only being the one thing or the one name, but and not like it's part of her feeling like she's kind of extraordinarily uninteresting. That aside from the fact that she's sick, that she's, you know, sort of very average person in every other way. Now that's not true at all, as hopefully becomes clear in the book. Oh, Dicko! Oh my goodness, you can't hear me? I'm screaming as loud as I can, Dicko! Oh, it was beautiful. Oh God, sweet holy Lord, one pink shoe, one blue shoe, and just Dicko'd it. Oh, he just Dicko'd it. Oh, that was a beautiful, beautiful Dicko goal. Oh, my God. He just hit it pure power. He just hit it exactly right, Meredith. That's how you score a goal. And then that's a nice tackle. No, that's not a foul. Really? You're going to give me a yellow card for being incredibly good-looking? Frankenstein says, I am a doctor, not a monster. Yeah, he's a little bit late. So this becomes the thing that he calls her that no one else calls her, you know, Hazel Grace, and it becomes sort of a way of her hopefully understanding that, you know, she isn't just one thing to all people, and Gus, you know, Gus imagines her differently than maybe other people have imagined her, and gives her a little more credit than other people have given her. And that's supposed to be like their special thing. Similarly, you know, Augustus is the name of Roman emperors. Every Roman emperor had Augustus somewhere in their name, so it's an imperial name. Whereas Gus is like a little kid's name, at least in my imagination. You know, it's a small name, literally and figuratively. There's something that feels, to me at least, like kiddish about it. Although I have lots of adult friends named Gus, for the record. Oh, speaking of records, oh, it's Dini! It's magic! Houdini! Oh my gosh! I'm yelling! You can't hear me yelling? Dini can't hear me yelling. I guess I gotta get louder. Do you believe in magic? I don't know. How does that song go? Do you believe in magic? Houdini does. I don't know. We gotta work. We gotta work on the songs. It's not bad. It's not bad. Or just screaming, do you believe in magic? I do have tons of friends named Gus. Thank you for mentioning that. 80 friends. I've got 80 adult friends named Gus. Okay, I don't have a ton of friends named Gus. Thank you for that mid-video correction, Meredith. I have 0 friends named Gus. Oh! Don't worry, Seb Brown's got it. But yeah, so like Gus is a little kid's name, or a smaller name than Augustus certainly, and lots of people whose names are Augustus go by the name Gus because they don't want to come across as like big and imperious or whatever. And over the course of the novel, his name to Hazel starts out as Augustus. She refers to him as Augustus when he's this kind of larger than life, very performed character to her, and then as she gets to actually know him, and particularly as he becomes fragile and vulnerable to her, he becomes Gus. There are moments, particularly at the end of the book, where Gus talks about Hazel as Hazel, not just as Hazel Grace, but he always calls her Hazel Grace to her. One of the most moving things that I guess, like early on after the publication of the book, I started to. I mean, I like the book did way better than any of my other books. Like even in the first week, it did better than any of my other books. So I kind of started to suspect that something was different this time. Don't say that was offside, please. Oh my God! What a beautiful goal! It's Dicko. He has 2. Oh my goodness! The heel click. Everything is coming up, Dicko. Is that good? Everything's coming up, Dicko. He just slid it right in. Dicko. He knows where to put it. He knows he's a great finisher. We got to think of a song, guys. There's tons of pun possibilities because his name is Dicko. So I don't know how many more opportunities I could have possibly given you than acquiring a player named Dicko, who is also great. That's nice. It's nice when you can have a player who's both Dicko and excellent. Speaking of excellence, could it be? No, I thought it was going to be a first half hat trick, but it isn't. Things are looking way better. Always in this game, Meredith, if you can just score first, the goals start to flow because Barnsley then gets really scared and knows that they need to score and etc. So anyway, I'm really liking where we're at right now. I'm going to make a quick couple substitutions. I'm going to leave Dicko on because I'm no dummy. But Frankenstein's been looking a little tired. So I'm going to bring on Hell's Pels. Yeah. I think a lot of times when we're thinking about ourselves in relationship to others, particularly the others we admire in the way the beginning of the book, Hazel kind of like blindly admires Gus and thinks that he's, even though he's sort of a little bit over the top, it's extremely charming to her. When those people pay attention to us and then it feels somehow almost like literally magical, and then slowly, hopefully, you start to see the other as a person instead of like just like a romantic ideal, and that process is very interesting to me, obviously, since I've written about it like 10 different ways, or I've tried to write about it. Hopefully I've succeeded at not just romanticizing the other. But anyway, early on in the book, I knew, like after it was published, I knew that it was different. That like, it was people were responding to it very differently than they'd responded to my other books, and I saw early on, like in the first week or two, somebody posted something to Tumblr that was like a artwork that they'd made where that said that was like it was like pictures of Hazel and Augustus, and it said beneath Gus, it said like Augustus Waters, and beneath Hazel, it said Hazel Grace Lancaster. And someone posted the caption. Someone posted like the comment when reblogging it. Only Gus can call her Hazel Grace, and I started crying when I read that, because it was so extraordinary to me that people were thinking of the book that way, that they were being like that serious to it and that generous to it. That it was really through that. I mean, it was a romantic relationship for Hazel, but it was also, this deep connected friendship of someone who, understood her and the place in life that she was better than anyone had before. Speaking of being better than anyone has been before, it's Deanie! Deanie! Who, Deanie? Do you believe in magic? Well, you should because Houdini just scored. I still don't have it, Meredith. I don't think that's the right. I don't think that's the right tune. Do you believe in? No. Do you believe in Dini? No. Who? Dini. Who? No. I'll work on it on the way home, and then hopefully some people in comments will be coming up with songs as well. You know Houdini died of a ruptured appendix? You never know how you're going to go in this world. But you can pretty much guarantee that you're not going to go by a ruptured appendix just as long as you go to the hospital when your appendix hurts. What was I talking about? Yeah, so it was this really important friendship for her, and like I think helped her see that she didn't have to imagine herself in one way, or like define or have herself like entirely defined by this illness, or imagine herself like strictly as a person with this illness, which is the way that at the beginning of the book she talks about herself and talks about herself to Gus, but also like talks about herself to us. So the reason that was important for me is because I talked to a lot of people living with chronic illness, and one of the most difficult things for a lot of the people I talked to was this feeling that you can't not be sick. Like you can't take a break from being sick. You can't take a break, that's a horrible haircut, from this identity of ill person. When you're in chronic pain or you're chronically sick, like that's what you do. It's like a full-time job. It's like a kind of life. And it's not a particularly fun kind of life, but also it's the tremendous challenge of like getting people to understand. It's really, really, particularly with physical pain, it's really hard to get people to understand it. People know, you know, when you can talk about heartbreak in a way that makes people, I think to an extent at least, understand it. It's very difficult to talk about physical pain in a way that, makes people understand what you're going through. Pain, physical pain and illness in a way, this is not my observation, it's Elaine Scarry's observation, but like they resist language, they destroy language, they're you know, sort of against language. And that makes it really difficult when you're trying to explain what's, that was going to be a beautiful goal, when you're trying to explain what's happening to you. Because there is no language around it. All you can say is it hurts, it's burning, it's sharp, it's, you know, you can say those things, but you can't make someone else understand what it's actually like. And in Gus, Hazel meets someone who does seem to understand what it's actually like in the way that previously only Peter Van Houten has, like only this novelist who she doesn't know in real life and who, you know, isn't really existent in the way that you know, in her daily life. So I think that's what's so powerful for her, and that's where the, you know, that's why Hazel Grace is you know, him calling her Hazel Grace is so meaningful to her. And that's the end of the game, and we won 4-0. It was a little bit of a sad episode for a 4-0 victory, but look at that. Dicko, Dini, Dicko, Dini. Houdini and Dicko, truly an odd couple for the ages. Thank you for watching. Finally back on a winning track. Best wishes.